and they're stuck in that vicious cycle because they don't even think it's possible. I knew it was possible. To me, success was never a doubt in my mind. I always knew, right? But I had that hunger and that drive because I knew, first of all, I had to take care of myself, and second, I had to take care of my mom. Look, if your parents are supporting you or whatnot, like tell them to cut you off. Like tell them, like if your parents are giving you monthly money or whatever, tell them, look, I don't want this money. Can you put this money and can you put it towards, I want to pay for a coach or a mentor, prove the haters wrong, or they want to get the money and the cars and the women and stuff like that. And here's the thing, what I say all the time is you need to go through a paradigm to understand it.
G'day mates, what is going on? In today's video, we have a very, very special guest with us, Iman Gadzhi. I'm so thankful to have you on this channel. You are a powerhouse. Now, a lot of people on this channel here don't know a lot about you, so would you mind kind of giving a little bit of an introduction about who you are, where you started, and how you got to where you are today?
Of course, of course. So guys, my name is Iman. I'm an 18-year-old high school dropout. I recently turned 18 2 months ago. And yeah, my journey, I guess I properly started with what I'm doing right now. So if you look at my income streams, I do social media marketing, I do affiliate marketing, and I've also built up my personal brand, so sell digital products that way. So I kind of started like 14 months ago, you could say. 14 months ago, I just kind of started out of just desperation. For me and my family, and I knew I didn't want to go to college. I mean, I knew that for a long time, and I'm just like, look, no one else is gonna take care of me except for me. The future is in my hands, so I took the plunge, started with social media marketing, built that up for 3-4 months to a point where I actually managed to drop out of high school at the age of 17 with a year and a half left of school because I was just getting like straight up, I was getting 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep every night, trying to manage school, which I wasn't even managing. I was just like, I was letting it completely like burn, but just having to appear and be at school and trying to build this business and manage clients on the side was just draining, and it was getting to me. And I dropped out of high school, and it's definitely a scary thing. My mom thought I was ridiculous. My mom and I's relationship got ruined for like 4 or 5 months. All my friends thought I was ridiculous. Even my own business mentor, it's like the first father figure in my life. He looked at me and he's like, "Hey man, I don't understand what you're trying to do with your life." Despite all of that, I thought it was still a good enough idea that I went ahead and did it. Dropped out, and that was like 9 months ago. And just kind of built up my businesses, made a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. Just kind of surrounded myself with the right people, found the right mentors. Spent ridiculous amounts of money on my self-education because I knew where I wanted to get to, but I also knew I wanted to get there fast. Kind of gone to the point now where 3 months ago, moved into my dream apartment here in London. Last month, between all my businesses, I managed to do $72,000 profit. That's profit, not revenue, profit. I guess just every day, just kind of thankful and grateful for the amount of opportunity that's out there.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that, Iman. I think that you have such a powerful brand right now that you've built, and what intrigues me the most, and I think probably what a lot of other people are wondering right now, is you're so young. Like, what was it that got you to this point? Because a lot of people don't start until they're your age.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, honestly, as I said, it was kind of just out of desperation. So a little bit about my background. I was born in like a just complete poverty in south of Russia, little village boy. And my mom, very young at the time, managed to... So my real dad, alcoholic, abusive, runaway, so I've never met him. My mom meets my stepdad, and my stepdad's pretty wealthy. So my stepdad and her come over to London, right? So this dream story of this kid coming from poverty meets, her mom meets this incredible man, right? They move to London for a better life. All looked good on the front, but later on kind of just found out they were only married for legal purposes. So yes, here I am going to this private school. I'm in this nice area, this broken house, because no one could afford to pay for renovation. But I'm in this broken house in this nice area, but my mom and I are still broke. My mom is unemployed for 7 years at this point, going on 10 years, going on 12 years, has been through a lot of, I've seen my mom go through just stuff I wouldn't wish upon anyone, just stuff that I still struggle to talk about to this day. But, as a man, I think we all want to be the man of the house. And, I've never really had a father in my life. My stepdad just kind of like gave up on me when I was like 8, 9. So very, very quickly I had to go, shit, like if I don't do this, I don't have any backup. I don't have any support. Like no one's paying for me to go to college. No one's paying for my rent because we can barely even afford our own. So, I didn't have one of those ridiculous, like I would say I had the most blessed upbringing possible, because I always knew it was possible because my parents were married for legal purposes. My dad managed to benefit in like ridiculous amounts of money, had tax benefits from us, because he was married. So I was in this private school. So I always knew it was possible. All my friends were mega wealthy, but then they'd be like, hey, you want to go to the cinema? And I'd be like, no, I can't. like, no, So, I always knew it was possible, but I always had nothing. It was there in front of me. I could see the fucking success. I could see the riches. I could see the life in front of me, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine at all. So I always knew it was possible. You see a lot of people grow up in just ridiculous amounts of poverty, and they're stuck in that vicious cycle because they don't even think it's possible. I knew it was possible. To me, success was never a doubt in my mind. I always knew, right? But I had that hunger and that drive because I knew, first of all, I had to take care of myself, and second, I had to take care of my mom. And fortunately now at the age of just turned 18, I can, my mom doesn't need to worry about money anymore, and I can take care of the people that have really done quite a bit for me, and I guess that's the thing I'm the most proud about.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think like having that hunger for success is like so important because it pushes you to different levels of action, right? Because if you're comfortable with how you are right now, you're not going to be as motivated to like really take action and get out of that situation or change your situation, create the kind of life that you want if you're comfortable. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, you need to like, look, if your parents are supporting you or whatnot, like tell them to cut you off. Like tell them like if your parents are giving you monthly money or whatever, tell them, look, I don't want this money. Can you put this money and can you put it towards, I want to pay for a coach or a mentor, or tell them to like, I don't know, put it some like, because like I can honestly say if I grew up in a stable family, if I had a father, if I grew up in a stable family, if I didn't see my mom go through so much financial struggle and abuse and just the horrific things that I saw growing up, I would just be a regular kid. Because we're not meant to thrive. We're meant to survive. Like we're not like entrepreneurship goes against everything that human psychology, all of human psychology. We're not meant to grow. We're meant to just put it's maximum reward for minimal effort. Right?
Yeah.
So, look, honestly, for any of you guys out there, I've seen, by the way, I've seen kids with wealthy parents who have grown on to be incredible human beings, but they find something within themselves, something to light a fire, because, you got to do it artificially, if there's actually nothing physically there to do it for you.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's some good piece of advice there. So, I think a lot of people who are starting out entrepreneurship, they're getting started in social media marketing. A lot of people struggle to kind of have success in whatever they're doing. But what I find that keeps me going is kind of my why. What's my reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing every day? Like maybe you can talk a little bit about your mission and your why behind what you do every day now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, I actually shot a video about this the other day. I see a lot of people, they like, especially in the self-help community, they get so angry at people who are like, their why is like, they want to like, they want to prove the haters wrong, or they want to get the money and the cars and the women and stuff like that. And here's the thing, what I say all the time is you need to go through a paradigm to understand it. right? So I think when I first started out, I didn't do it for noble reasons or legacy or this or that. Like I had grand visions of my future, but I just did it because I was fucking scared. I'm just like, look, if I don't get this thing sorted by the time I graduate, like I don't got a place to live. Like, you know, once I turned 18, I knew my parents were divorcing, and I'm either gonna go back to being a village boy in Russia, or I'm just gonna like take care of me and my mom, right? So like that was my why to begin with. My why was just I'm just fucking scared, you know, you know. So that was my first why. My second why after that is like, oh, I need to be like. It was all about me. Like I want, you know, I want the best things in life. I want this. I want to move into my dream apartment. I want the car. I want the like best life. I want all this stuff, right? Because I deserve it, right? And then the next thing is just kind of like, no, I just at the end of my life, I want to be able to say like, I was who I was meant to be. You know, everything that I could have been, I was. And then now it's kind of at a place, I'm kind of, you know, either I use that as my motivation these days, or it's just kind of like, shit, I owe it to society, because the amount of kids, if you go look at, the statistic behind, you know, kids without fathers, you know, like their dropout rate is through the roof. Their crime rate is through the roof. Like, you know, now these days, I'm just like, look, I owe it to someone out there that like, doesn't have any sort of father figure in his life, doesn't have anyone to look to, doesn't have anyone they can resonate. Because I know a lot of kids like me who are looked at as like troublesome kids, who are looked at as like write-offs. You know, my dad or my stepdad, you know, he told me I was a write-off. He's like, dude, you're not a clever kid. Like, you're an idiot, right? And I was told that from a really young age. So, you know, now kind of the thing, my why and my driver is outside of myself. And I think that is the strongest thing that you can have. But I say, don't start with that, because that's a paradigm you don't understand. It's a paradigm you don't resonate with. So start off with the like, I need to prove my fucking mom wrong, or like my best friend who's being a dick, like I need to prove them wrong, right? Like start off with the thing that just lights a fire under your ass. And then suddenly, you know, as you go through the paradigms, you'll realize like what really matters.
Dude, that's awesome. I think that's so powerful, because like a lot of people get hung up with like figuring out from the very start, you know, what their why is, and they get hung up and it stops them from actually making progress. But what you're basically saying is just find something right now that lights a fire, that gets you motivated, that gets you pumped, gets you, you know, in a place where you can just, you know, grind, take action and start creating something in your life. Start there and then kind of move things along as you keep you know, creating the success you want in your life. Yeah,
exactly.
That's awesome, dude. So, you know, a lot of people wonder, I think this is a very common question with successful people. You know, you're making $72,000 last month, and it's only going to go up from here, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. But like, what two things would you say? And maybe this is mindset. Maybe it's things you do every day that have really contributed to your success today, and that will help you get more success this year?
Damn, that's an interesting question. There's a lot. There's a lot. Honestly, first thing I'd say is your social circle. Like 100%. Like, you are the byproduct of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And look, I'm not saying like get rid of all your friends, because look, there might be amazing people, but I don't take fitness advice from people who don't have the body I want. I don't. Like when I remember my economy teacher used to give me financial advice, I would get so pissed. I couldn't say anything because she's the teacher. I would get so pissed, right? Because then, if I honestly, this really gets me fired up. Like when I see people who are not in a position to give advice, giving advice, it makes me so angry. Like, even, I'll be honest, guys, like, you know, I try, look, in all fairness, I'm at fault. I do this sometimes as well, I'm sure, right? My ego gets too big, and I'll start speaking about something that maybe I'm not qualified to speak about, but I really try not to do it, because like I see a lot of people, especially on YouTube, and I'm sure you get this as well, or, you know, influencers or personal, like entrepreneurs, blah, blah, this, that, you know, talking about shit they haven't gone through, right? And it's just, I don't know, it drives me crazy. Anyways, seriously, the people you associate with, guys, if you are, by the way, I know, because I've gone through this. I have grown up way too quickly in every single facet of my life. I don't know many people who would talk about this. I'm probably one of the most open and honest people you'll ever meet. You know, I went through a year ago, right? You know, you look at anything in my life, whether that be, business, relationships, just social circle, having fun. I've grown up very quickly in all of them. A year and a half ago, I was struggling with a bit of a drug addiction because I got sucked into this London high society, right? London high society where just the amount of wealth these guys had, right? And doesn't matter whether it's high society or not. Like, if your friends all drink on the weekend, you're going to drink on the weekend. If all your friends, I know because I went through this, do MDMA or coke or even worse things on the weekend, that is what you're going to do. If all your friends, when you'll notice this, if you sit in amongst your five best friends and they talk about what life would be like get them out now, right? Or slowly weed them out. They might still be amazing people, but these are not these are not people who are going to move forward. The people who are successful, when they sit around a table, they talk about solutions, right? They talk about solutions and how they're going to do something, not what would life be like if this happened, right? So first thing is 100% your social circle. For me personally, I can tell you guys, I was lonely for a long fucking time. For the past 3-4 years, I've been a social guy, right? So I remember vividly at times in school, and I get this a lot. People are like, look, my social circle or the friends around me, they're not contributing. What should I do? Cut them out. Or don't cut them out. Just don't hang out with them. I was such a lonely fucking guy. I remember I would be 15. In my school, you can go off campus and buy food at restaurants or fast food places. I didn't have any money to do that. So what I would do is I would come in with Tupperware, chicken and rice, right? Pre-prepped, right? Super cheap. So I'd come in and sit in the library. I'd be reading my book, my used book, which I go to Brixton Bookmongers, pick up a £2 used book because I couldn't afford full price. So I'd do that. I'd eat my chicken and rice. Then I'd go up to the bathroom and I'd sit in the bathroom stall alone, 30 minutes meditating, right? Wow. As a 15-year-old kid. And guys, at the time, you look at that and you're just like, this kid is fucking crazy. But one thing I'm proud about, I guess to this day, is the fact that, here at 18, doing 50, 60, $70,000 a month, I can legitimately backtrack every single success I have now to an action that looks preposterous 3 years ago. Every single Sunday, I would go to the used bookstore and I would sit there for 4 or 5 hours and I'd read books, things to do with philosophy, things to do with relationships, things to do with social circle, things to do with sales, right? And I would fill up my mind and I'd be such a lonely fucking kid. And the funny thing is, I was still a social guy, I was still a social guy. I would still get invited to parties. I'd still have a dope social circle, but I'd spend very little time with them because I knew if I spend more and more time with them, I'm going to become like them. And I can't afford that, right? So, I was, for the most part, such a lonely fucking kid. And the funny thing is now, 2-3 years later, I got everyone trying to hit me up to meet up with me. And guys, that's what success is, you got to be lonely for a bit. And then at a certain point, success hits and everyone's trying to fucking meet you. And that doesn't mean they're piggybacking off your success, but people want to network with you. Business people want to network with you. People want to get your advice. People start to see your success and they do want to, they're intrigued. They want to see you. They're interested, right? And I think even to this day, I still stay so lonely, dude. I stay so lonely. I have so many people hitting me up, trying to meet with me, people inviting me out clubbing and stuff like that, right? Parties, clubbing. I stay so fucking lonely, right? On purpose, because you have to. Because you are some of the 5 people you hang around with the most, and I can honestly say that. So that is a very long-winded answer to your question, which is you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most. So number 1, that, and number 2, man, self-education was everything to me. And I make, people say all the time, they're like, oh, I can't afford this course, blah, blah, this, I just can't start, bro. I don't have the course. I'm like, dude, stop, shut up. Go to a used bookstore, go online. The internet's free, right? You have internet at home. Start now. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like if you can afford the course, you are at a disadvantage. If you can't afford to go to 10x Growth Con, you are at a disadvantage. But like I would place the bet on if one person is doing 100 cold calls that day and they have a stutter, I'm still gonna place my bet on them compared to the person that has a light cold, and decides to do 0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That was really powerful. I think you gave a lot of good insights, you know, through sharing all of that. And I think that, you know, I would have to attest to you and say that you have to make sacrifices, like especially with people you hang out with. Because when I started out, there were people that I was friends with when I was trying to break through the barrier of, you know, in this wall that I wanted to kind of, you know, climb over, get through, however you want to put it, because I wanted to start building online business. I want to start developing a successful mindset. I wanted to start building my mind so that I could actually work towards the kind of goals and ambitions I had for my life. Mm-hmm. But what I found was every single time, I had roommates at the time, I was hanging out with these people all the time. And I would sit in my room, just engorge myself in my computer, trying to learn and educate myself. And they would come to my room all the time and ask me, hey, let's go hang out with these girls, you know, let's go do this, you know, we're going to be doing this tonight. I'm like, no, you know, I don't want to do that. And I started making those decisions, and I distanced myself from my friends, and it was hard. It was a sacrifice that I knew I needed to make, because those people weren't the kind of people that I wanted to surround myself with, that I knew I needed to be around to be successful. And so, you know, you guys, if you want to change your life, if you want to start creating success, and there are people around you that are pulling you down, or they tell you shouldn't do it, or, you know, oh, you should just, you know, get a part-time job, you know, that'll at least keep you going, or whatever, you have to make sacrifices, because that will allow you to get to the top and get to where you want to be. Now, it may not be easy in the beginning, but once you make it and once you're there, you're going to be freaking grateful that you made that decision. Mm-hmm. So I just want to, you know, double attest to what, you know, Iman is saying, is if that's what you need to do, you just have to do it. Mm-hmm. So awesome, man. I think that there's some super good, valuable stuff in this video so far. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, you know, social media marketing, because, you know, a lot of people who are on this channel right now, they're involved in social media marketing, and they may be having a hard time with, maybe it's getting clients, or, you know, that's the main reason why people struggle. So, you know, maybe you could share a little bit about social media marketing and maybe kind of some tips on being able to get clients. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, social media marketing is a space that I saw done so wrong, so badly, so poorly for so long. So I mean, look, I can talk about this for hours, but let's just go over the common advice, which is, look, you get a client, you charge them $1,000 to $2,000, you know, $1,000 to $5,000 a month. That's the common advice. My question is why? Look, if Jordan told me today, and he's like, look, Iman, I want to run your retargeting ads, right? And I'm going to charge you $3,000 for that. I would laugh at him, because he I would laugh at him, and I'd find it disrespectful, the fact that he can't even explain the process. He can't explain what's the ROI. He can't explain how he's doing it. So for me, everything I do as when in the social media marketing space is about making it. Another thing is, most of the time in the social media marketing space, it feels like you are just a worker, a slave to your client. I don't like that. I don't respect that. I like to make the agreement from business owner to business owner. So if you want to be treated like a business owner, you need to speak and act like a business owner. So when I sell, say for example, literally I'll give you a client that I closed the other day, right? Knightsbridge Dental Care, right? This is the most premier dental clinic in London, right? Super expensive. So I went and talked to them. If I followed regular advice, I would go, look, I'm going to manage your Facebook ads for you. I'm going to bring in leads for you, and I'm going to charge you, that'll only cost you $2,000 a month. I don't sell based off of that. What I always start off with, especially if I'm selling paid traffic, LTV, lifetime value. So I need to first off figure out what is the lifetime value of a customer for a dental clinic, Now, for most places, it'll be anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. For them, 32,000 pounds. Now, I think that is like let's just say like $40,000. So if I came in and I tried to sell them a $2,000 package, and if I even bring them one person a month, they are worth, on average, if you look at the lifetime value, $40,000. How does that make sense? Right? So people are not selling based off of numbers. And when I talked, here's another issue. If I went in there and I'm like, look, I'm gonna bring in for the $2,000 a month, I can $2,000 and say like $1,000 a month ad spend. I can bring you 50 leads or whatever. Let's just say like 100 leads for teeth cleaning that then you can upsell on. The owner is gonna go, yeah, okay, so you brought in 100 and I upsold maybe like 30 onto a $97 upsell. You only made me 100 times, let's just say like 100 times 30. You only made me $3,000. I only broke even, right? Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't be a solid ROI. But instead, because I'm selling based off of lifetime value, right? Because I brought them that person, but that person stays for on average 4 years, and that person on average refers 2.2 people, right? Then I can sell basis off of LTV. That takes the pressure off of me as a marketer, right? Because I know my numbers. And the funny thing is, this is the best clinic in London. I asked, so what's your LTV? She said, what's LTV? So now I'm a consultant. Yep. It makes her look like an idiot when she doesn't even know what her LTV is. And I can tell you what industry average is. So now like everything I do, whether it be with my personal brand, whether it be with consulting jobs, whether it be with whatever it be, I'm always selling the buyer, flipping the buyer-seller dynamic as quick as possible. So if I can give you one piece of advice in terms of selling, know the industry better than the business owner does. Start off with, no one talks about this. I don't hear anyone talk about this. Niche research, right? Study the niche, right? Study what are the best converting ads for your clients. So for example, with me, I can tell you the best converting ads for gyms are always the free week. Some people aren't willing to do that. So instead it's 3 for 30. So either 3 sessions for $30 or 3 weeks for $30. Those are the two best converting ads. I know that like back of my hand, right? I also know what the LTV is for a gym like back of my hand. So when I talk to the owner, I know the industry better than they know the industry, right? So now the buyer-seller dynamic is flipped because I'm the person with authority, right? Mm-hmm. And also, it's also all about like, I have a certain sales process where, I mean, one thing you need to understand, guys, is people buy based off of emotion and then they justify with logic, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't see enough emotional selling tied into the thing, right? So like a very, very simple way to do this is, look, where are you at right now? Say they're at like $50,000 a month revenue, right? Keep in mind their profit margin might only be 20, 30%, right? Mm-hmm. In whatever industry, right? So 50,000 revenue. Where do you want to get to in a year? They'll say 100,000 revenue. Okay, I go, okay, great. So that space in between is worth $50,000, right? Okay. Now tell me, what's the motive behind getting to $100,000 a month? And they'll go, oh, I just want to increase my business, blah, blah. And then usually you need to nitpick and pry a little bit more. And usually the real reason is because, their wife doesn't respect them. Or I'll give you, historically, I'll give you some examples. There's sorry if I'm going on a tangent or a rant. One of my old clients, Belgravia Garage, I found out after he was so profits driven, and I found out later he inherited the business from his dad, and his dad was an old guy, and I found out from other people in the establishment, all he wanted to do was make his dad proud. So he didn't care about the social ROI, he didn't care about the brand awareness, he just cared about profits, right? And you need to understand the person you're selling to. Then another one of my old clients, athlete, I found out from his wife that he was bullied as a kid. And the guy literally told me in the first meeting, I don't care about the ROI. I just want brand awareness and I want you to make the coolest brand out there. Why? Because he just needed the validation that he didn't get as a kid growing up. So really, if I can give you long-winded advice, is first of all, start off today, do 2-3 hours of niche research. What's your niche? Restaurants, dentists, gyms. What are the best converting ads? And also, what is the lifetime value, and sell based off of the lifetime value rather than just whatever the hell most people sell off of.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's like, I mean, this is some powerful stuff. This is some serious, like, because that's like the biggest part that people struggle with is the sales part, you know? And so thank you so much. You've taught me something today as well.
No worries.
That's awesome. So, you know, I kind of want to start to wrap things up here. And I wanted to ask you another question about, you know, the success you've had and what kind of opportunities that this has brought you because of the success you had.
Well, I think success is always like bittersweet. Like, I mean, you know how I talked about, like, you need to go through a paradigm to understand it. I always knew logically, like, money doesn't really change that. Like, money doesn't make you happy. And yeah, you know, but I never really believed that. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, if I'm in like a Ferrari, like you just shut up. Like, no, like, but honestly, I can tell you right now, for me personally, it hasn't changed that much. Look, I live in my dream apartment, my dream $5,000 a month apartment. I just came back from Portugal. I'm off to Tenerife tomorrow. Then I'm in Amsterdam. Then I'm in Greece. Like, look, I'm not gonna lie, it's changed a lot for me, but you get acclimated to it, right? You get acclimated to it, and you know, things just kind of go on as normal. What I will say, and this is the thing that this is literally the reason I wake up every single day and I keep working. Man, what it does for the people around you, what it's done for my mom, what it's done for the people, literally, like, people who used to buy me lunch, like my good friends would buy me lunch because I couldn't afford to eat out, right? What it's done to be able to pay those people back, what it's enabled for me to do when I can give away however much money I want to charity, however much money, like, I've done stuff like I've given away an iPhone to one of my subscribers, right? A brand new iPhone so he could start building his business. You know, what that does is so powerful. And guys, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street, there's no nobility in poverty. Guys, you know, like, you owe it to the fucking world not to be poor. Like, it's just like, you know, I see someone who doesn't have any money, and I look at them and I'm just like, you're fucking selfish. Like shame on you, you know, because, like, I don't care if you say you don't want money. You know, I think for most people that's just an excuse. I will say getting to 6 figures is the biggest change you'll make in your life. Getting to 7 figures doesn't really change that much, honestly, for you personally, in terms of your happiness. But dude, I don't care if you say you don't want money. Like, you fucking owe it to your mom. You know, like, you owe it to your mom, you owe it to your wife, you owe it to your girlfriend, you owe it to your sister. Like, you know, stop making it about yourself.
Dude, thank you so much. That's awesome. I really appreciate you being here on this channel and sharing your incredible advice with all of us. You know, just sharing everything that you've been able to do to help us in you know, our journey and everything. So, Iman, where can people find you if they want to connect?
If people can find me, probably easiest with my last name. Probably easiest if Jordan just leave some links below. I showed him my last name on my social media, but it's still pretty, like, whack. So yeah, you can Instagram. You can find me below, and probably YouTube. I'm guessing Jordan will link those. So just go ahead, click on there, and yeah, we'll connect. Yep.
So guys, I really want to just thank Iman for being here. I want you guys to know that this guy is legit. This guy knows what he's talking about. He has so much knowledge and so much passion to help you guys succeed in business and in life. So go and give him a follow on Instagram and YouTube. Give him a subscribe. But thanks so much, Iman, for being here. Really, really appreciate you. And guys, we'll see you in the next video.